the spotlight on Nayoka, and she will talk about the sweeteners and sugar replacements and tell us what it's going to be. Um, the stage is yours.
Oh my goodness, am I ready? I'm a little nervous, but okay, I'll
You
just go
are
with
ready.
it. I feel like I'm being watched by the dietitian in the room. So,
Yes, you are.
so I am a registered nurse. I've been a registered nurse for almost 20 years. And while I was in nursing school, I also pursued some indigenous studies in a tradition called Akom. And so, interestingly enough, while I was in nursing school, I was also training in these natural ways of doing things, in a holistic way of living my life. And so the two went very well together. But while I was in nursing school, I had a specific kind of diet. I had to follow um, years of limiting my sugar intake, years of reading labels, years of identifying the things that I wanted inside of my body and those things that I did not want inside of my body. So, years later, I am now a holistic health and wellness coach, and I utilize my years of nursing to support the natural way or the more holistic way of living for myself and for those who I serve. So, one of the things that I like to do is provide some alternatives in terms of diet and adding sweeteners and sugars to your foods that you may not have ever thought about before. Because there are more natural ways that may exist in other countries or in other traditions that we can utilize to support the healthy lifestyles that we want to make. So I just want to pause right here and say any feedback, any questions, maybe from the panelists, to make this just a little bit more interactive because I don't want to talk for like 15 minutes straight.
You could talk for 10 minutes. I'm looking for the comments in the group, so I
Okay, great.
posted it as a separate post as well. So let's see what we will get right now.
Excellent, excellent. Okay, so while we're waiting for maybe those comments or questions to come in, I want to talk about the first natural sweetener. And the first natural sweetener is called monk fruit. It is
Mhm.
originally from China and northern Thailand. And the active component in it is not your typical sugar, okay? It's called magrosides. That's what's inside of it. And I don't want to get too technical or too complicated, but because of this element, our body or this compound, our body receives it differently than when we use the processed sugar cane. All right. Some health benefits: it has 0 calories and carbohydrates. It also, and you'll find this when you use a lot of natural uh, uh, ingredients, is that they have other positives. Like monk fruit has an anti inflammatory process. So it will kind of pick up some of those free radicals and some of those um, things in our blood that cause our bodies to think that we're always in stress, right? It helps to pick those things up. It contains antioxidants that also combat the free radicals, and it does not raise blood sugar levels. It does not raise blood sugar levels. Okay, you can use it when you sweeten your coffee, when you sweeten your tea, when you're baking. And because it's more like a powder, it's a powdery consistency when you buy it in the stores, then you want to make sure that you're looking at how much you're using to bake a little differently than if you would use some other type of sugar. All right. And you could probably use measurements like when you're using that powder sugar, that powder sugar that you can buy in Walmart or any grocery store. You might want to use those same measurements. Um, so considerations you might want to take in consideration before you try this is that it can have a slight aftertaste. It tastes sweeter than sugar, and it may be combined with other sweeteners. So just watch out, look at your label, make sure that the ingredients specify specifically monk fruit. Any questions? Any thoughts?
Actually, the comments are that people love the monk fruit. I have a question for you. So I didn't. I'm recommending this replacement for the sugar to people, but I never tried it, never tasted it. And I've heard from you right now and from other people that it's sweeter than the sugar. So my just general assumption is it's more costly, but you need less, right, to get the same result. So this way you're kind of saving some money, and it balances out. I just
Yes.
looking for the for
I
the
love that. That's an
for that.
excellent ad. Thank you for that, Irina.
Nayoka, I actually have show and tell, and I actually brought my monk fruit Splenda. It's not Splenda.
Let me add spotlight to you.
So, Nayoka is absolutely correct. Artificial sweeteners are sweeter than sugar. Monk fruit, however, it's not as sweet. So, for example, Splenda stevia are almost 800 times sweeter than sugar. Monk fruit is about 200 times sweeter than sugar. So you will see more of this coming into the drinks, coming into the restaurants, because it's just more tolerable compared to Splenda or stevia. Those can be very, very strong aftertaste. And I haven't tried it in baking, Nayoka, but I definitely like this in my coffee, in my tea. And I like Splenda. I mean, I'm a Splenda girl, but I do love the gentleness of monk fruit. And I love that it is from a natural source. And you used to be able to find natural monk fruit or monk fruit in the raw, but I can't find it anymore. So if you can give me a resource to find that, I would love to do that, and recommend it to anybody who wants to try.
Absolutely. I'll look that up.
I have a question, which I will also be using monk fruit in my demonstration today. So, this is, it's almost like we planned it, but we didn't.
It's almost like we planned it, but we didn't. I love it.
But my question is, what is the difference between monk fruit and erythritol? Because I see on a package of monk fruit, you flip it over and you look at under ingredients and it says erythritol. Is there a difference, or is it the same thing? Is it two names for the same thing?
So remember I told you earlier it might be mixed with another sweetener, and that's
Yeah.
exactly what they did there. Right, it's mixed with something else. So you want the brand that gives you the monk fruit itself and not necessarily mixed with anything else. I don't know if Kim, you have anything to add to that?
Yeah, so in my in one packet of monk fruit, there's less than 1 gram of erythritol. Erythritol is a sugar alcohol, and we have sugar alcohols naturally in our food, like apples. We have sorbitol. Our, these sugar alcohols are kind of like a laxative.
Yes.
If it's a very small amount, you will never notice that, but it is a way to sweeten a food without adding sugar. So sugar alcohols in a diabetic dessert, we're going to see that big fat zero where it says sugar, but sugar alcohols can still raise the blood sugar, especially if there's a significant amount, like in a sugar-free ice cream. It's really not, carbohydrate free. You can still raise your blood sugar, but there could be 10 or 15 grams of sugar alcohol in a serving. It's like, whoa, stock up on toilet paper, stock up on wipes. I mean, you're going to be in the bathroom for a long time. But one packet has less than 1 gram of erythritol. You're fine. It's just so we can put that big fat zero where it says sugar. And it's naturally occurring, but I think in this case, it's going to be just fine and very safe.
Mhm. And
Thank you.
I'm starting to see more allulose too now. And that's
Nayoka,
very,
you are
very,
muted.
very
If you
sweet.
wanted to add something, you are muted.
That's on my list.
Okay. All right. We have 5 more minutes for Nayoka to talk, so let's her talk about this.
Well, I know that you mentioned that, Mike, but what I want to talk even more about is utilizing some of the fruits as sweeteners. When I was in nursing school, practicing this, holistic way of living, I could not use any sugar at all. I relied a lot on dates. So
Mm-hmm.
what I would do is I would actually chop up my dates really fine or blend them up and use it to make granola.
Mm-hmm.
And so what what I found was this healthier option that tastes just as good as if I would buy granola in the store. I would make my own granola with like 5 different grains using the dates. I would put it in the oven and it would come out kind of nice and crunchy, crunchy up. I put it in my, it was so good. But I do want to talk about using things like dates instead of those things that will really shoot up your blood
Mm-hmm.
sugars. One of the things I love about the nat this more I feel like I'm overusing the word natural, but a more holistic approach is that um, it's the sudden highs and lows that's the problem. And when we use these naturally occurring things, what we get is this consistency that looks like a flat line, like a straight line, versus the dramatic ups and downs. So think about drama in your life. Oh my gosh, do I really want the drama? Those high spikes and low drops are like drama. And leading a holistic life is a little bit less of that drama. So, just to bring it to a close, just looking at these other ways of getting the taste that we like, because I have a sweet tooth. I'm not going to
Yeah.
deny it. I like it. And so if I could just look for other alternatives that will not throw my body into upheaval, then I would explore those routes because I'm a sugar girl. I love sweet.
All right. Well, thank you. Thank you, Nayoka, for sharing this information with us, with our listeners. In the comments, I see the events or the people commenting there. Majority are asking about the monk fruit. Does it have aftertaste? From what I hear, it doesn't. Um I also see a lot of people saying yes to monk fruit. We're using it here and there. So this is something that we learning today. Natural sweeteners, monk fruit, stevia. People, I know people grow those in their gardens, so use that. I personally not a big fan of stevia, but and sugar replacement in small quantities because they serve as laxatives as well. Unless you have serious constipation problem, maybe this is the solution.
One quick thing about stevia. So there's the brand and then there's the natural plant.
Yes.
Okay, so we have to be very careful with those labels. All right, just wanted to add
I,
that.
I, this is something that actually very important to pay attention to. When you look at the package and it says that there's 7% of stevia and the rest of it, all the chemical table, then you probably need to consider find some seeds and plant it in your little pot in the on the on your porch or something. Um, I think we had a very lively and interesting conversation today.